Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. NZPocketGuide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
We're back!
Welcome everybody, it is Sunday the 2nd of July at 8 AM New Zealand time, and this is the NZ Travel Show. That's right, Laura, after a bit of a hiatus of a couple of weeks, we are back. How fun!
Yeah, how have you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
We were on a bit of a trip around, and yeah, we're back. Pretty happy to be back. I'll be honest with you guys, it just feels good to be back. We have not been apart. We were together at all time, and our Patreon can attest to that. We were vlogging for them as we were on the road every single day. It's one of the perks that we provide to our lovely Patreon subscribers through our secret Facebook group. We can hang out with them daily, even if we're on the go. And so they got to see a lot of our exploration of some of the most remote places in the world. How cool was that?
Very
okay.
cool.
So yeah, we're back. We have a fun shows for you today. We have a fun show for you next week. We have a Patreon show after this one, which is an extra hour about that. It's good to be back, but somebody else is back and with big news. It's Kiwi Lauren. Laura, what is she saying?
Kiwi Lauren says, "Hi team, I'm packed and heading to the airport soon. Woohoo! 0 days till I leave for New Zealand. Oh my god, that has gone so fast. That's so exciting."
So that's been years that Kiwi Lauren has been planning this trip, and yeah, finally she is leaving. So that's really exciting. We'll get to meet her in person at some point during her trip,
Yeah,
which
that'll
is
be
yet
fun.
another thing that we do with some of our Patreon when it works. When the schedule works, we actually get to just grab a coffee with you and have a bit of a natter.
Yeah.
Hopefully we pick somewhere where the coffee is good and the snacks are good too.
Yes, we know a place or two, right?
Maybe. Oh yeah, we do. Okay, Adil is here. What is Adil saying?
Adil says, "Kia ora, Robin, Laura, and all the viewers."
All
the viewers.
the
I was going to say
viewers.
all the viewers, but I realised that's not exactly what he said. and
Oh,
I
you
did-
have to quote him verbatim, don't you?
Yes, I did want to do that.
Verbatim, by the way, is one of Laura's favorite words. Q Loren says yes, the Patreon show that we're going to be doing in an hour, she's going to be watching it live from the airport. That's really
Sweet.
cool. Ashkan says, "Hi, dear Robin and Laura." Oh, dear, aren't you so polite? I love you,
Hi, dear
Ashkan.
Ashkan.
How are you doing? Sam Bushhouse says, can you ride the Capital Connection? Have we ever ridden the Capital Connection?
No, I don't think we have.
I can't recall.
I don't think we
No,
have.
I don't think we have. I mean, it's one of the public transports in the beautiful town of
Wellington.
Wellington,
Right?
yes. And so, yeah, I know we haven't ridden it just yet. But yeah, maybe next time we're there, we'll hop in and check it out for you guys. We like to get some suggestions from you guys. Always awesome. Okay, Anthony is here saying Morena from Rodeo, California.
What
Laura.
does Morena mean, Robin?
Oh, she asked first. So, Morena means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language here in New Zealand. Damn, we are in a great mood. Speaking of a great mood, Sherry is always putting us in a great mood. What's she saying today?
She says, good morning, guys. Today I'm officially in the double digits. 99 days to go.
Ooh, I do like to see those countdowns, guys. It always excites me a lot. I absolutely love it.
Sam Bushhouse also asks, can you ride the Northern Explorer? That's yet another of the trains that we haven't.
Anthony in the chat right now did ride the Northern Explorer and sent us a lot of photos on our Patreon. He did that about a few months back. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Kiwi Lawrence says, I got a message from my friend the other day that said there was a big road closure north of Auckland this weekend and that our Cape Reinga trip may not happen. Do you know about this? Well, it's Auckland. We were in Auckland not that long ago, and there is roads and road cones and traffic pretty much everywhere at all times. So, in my opinion, just wait literally last minute to see if the road is closed or not.
And there may be a detour out.
And
there
most of the time,
is.
that's what I was about to say. Most of the time, there is a detour. So yeah, don't stress too much about it. You should be fine. There is always a way around.
Yeah.
That's why they do a lot. Okay. So, good people of the internet, we've got a theme for you guys this week. Let's just announce it officially. All right, so I don't know if you know, but there is a little fluff ball that only comes out at night, which is a flightless bird. And all those things are true, and that's also New Zealand's national icon. So that's the Kiwi bird. It's a really cute animal that everybody wants to see when coming for a trip in New Zealand. So today in this video, we thought we'd go over some of the best places to go and see Kiwi birds while traveling in New Zealand. They are fantastic birds and they're definitely worth checking out. Today we are going to go over some of the places that you can see them in captivity, in conservation centers for example, and some of the places where we may be able to see them in the wild. However, with all the wildlife activities, nothing is guaranteed because Kiwi birds are notoriously elusive. So without further ado, let's get started. But before that, Kiwi Loren says something fun. What is she saying?
My bag is so stuffed full. All these winter clothes. I have snow and cold 6 months of the year, so I'm not thrilled about the weather, but I'm so excited to see my friends again. New Zealand.
It's not that cold at the moment in New Zealand. It's just very, very, very wet. That's really what it is.
We had one cold day a couple of days ago, but then, most of the time when it's raining, you're not gonna, but you might feel more the cold of the dampness. The cold comes with a lot of the time with the dampness. But hey, at least that means you won't have to buy extra winter clothes when you're here, Kiwi Lauren, because I know you said that was sometimes an issue. So yeah, you should be ready to go, and at least as long as you can take off layers as well, if it gets too warm for you. The
only bone-chilling cold you're gonna have in New Zealand is when you're gonna go to the gas pump and realize that the prices have gone up 30 cents literally within the last 2 days due to the end of a government subsidy. So yeah, that's the bone-chilling cold you're gonna get.
Yes. Sherry says, what is the temperature right now?
So this morning it was about 6 degrees where we are in central Northern, and it's gonna go up to 9 degrees. Let's say about midday, and go back down to about 4 degrees around 10 p.m. tonight. I was checking the weather just before this live show, as you can tell.
Yeah, so that was for the central North Island, but if you are in places like Auckland or near the coast, places like Tauranga, East Coast, that sort of thing, usually that temperature will be a bit higher.
It was significantly warmer. So when we did drive to Auckland about a couple of weeks ago when we were going away, which is why we were not here, as we were driving, literally we could see the temperature in the car kind of going up, but like really significantly. So it was kind of like every 10 minutes I feel like we were going up 1 degree.
Yeah.
So we left like 4 degrees and we arrived at like something something like 12, 14, something like that. It was kind of interesting to see it like going up that fast.
Yeah, so it does really depend on which part of the country you're visiting for the temperatures, but that's why it is good to be prepared for everything.
Sherry says, that's really cold. It's 6 degrees right now and I'm bundled up in bed. Yeah, so, no, not us. Anthony says, let's talk about temperature. It's 88 Fahrenheit here where I'm at. I do not really know.
Is that about 30 or 20 something?
I don't know what two fat ladies means in Celsius. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I think that might be around 30 or something.
All right. So while you guys continue with all your fun comments, let's start with our Kiwi bird coverage today. And I thought it would be fun to start with some quick facts about the Kiwi bird. So, did you know that the Kiwi birds are the only bird which nostrils are at the end of their bills?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you know that female Kiwi birds are significantly larger than male Kiwi birds?
Oh, no.
Did you know that there is actually 5 different species of Kiwi birds?
I did know that.
Oh, can you name them all?
The Rowie, which is the one on the west coast. And then they have their Maori names and their English names. I think I only know the rest in their English names.
There's also the brown Kiwi bird.
There's the brown Kiwi bird, the great spotted Kiwi bird.
Great spotted.
There's...
That's 3 that more than half. I'll give it to you. Let's move on. Did you know that there is about 70,000 Kiwi birds in New Zealand, which is quite a good number? And did you know that the Kiwi bird first became the national symbol in the 19th century when they appeared on regimental badges of New Zealand soldiers?
Oh, yes, I did know that.
Here you go. All right, so that's 5 fun facts about Kiwi birds. Let's move on. Okay.
Kiwi Lauren is boasting about her 34 degrees in Saskatchewan today. It blows my mind how...
Widely
that
different
country, I submit, like that part of Canada, I don't know if it's the whole country, but
no, it's that part of Canada.
That part of Canada can just be like so cold and then so hot. It doesn't even get that hot in New Zealand. So, and even some of the South Pacific islands we go to, we rarely experience 34 degrees. So I just find that insane. That weather is just so crazy. Anyway,
which makes Sherry very jealous.
Jerry is very jealous.
Sherry, not Jerry.
Sorry, I meant to say Sherry.
What's the deal with YouTube nowadays?
Yeah, not Jerry Seinfeld.
No, not Jerry Seinfeld. All right, so while you guys continue, let's talk about best places to see Kiwi birds in New Zealand. So, beginning our list with Stewart Island. That's right, we start with the full island. Stewart Island is located at the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand, and pretty much the entirety of the Stewart Island area is the Rakura National Park, and it's a fantastic place to spot Kiwi birds in the wild.
Yes, it is. So the species of Kiwi bird found in Stewart Island, which is the southern brown Kiwi, they're actually known for, although most Kiwi birds only sort of are awake at night, the ones on Stewart Island are usually spotted all the way up until midday. So if you are hiking around the island, which is kind of the main thing to do on Stewart Island, there's many hiking trails there. Often people just spot them in the wild while they're hiking on one of the trails. It happened to us. Yes, it did. It happened to us. We've seen videos of people that we were literally on the island at the same time, and they actually got a really cool video of a Kiwi bird crossing like the path right in front of them. And you can see on our YouTube channel also our Kiwi spotting experience as well. So go check that out.
All right, so the next place to see Kiwi birds in the wild on our list is the Tronson Corrie Park. So the Tronson Corrie Park is located 38 kilometers, which is 24 miles north of the town of Dargaville, which is in the Northland, and it's actually in the Northland region of the Northland of New Zealand.
So this is another place where you can see Kiwi birds in the wild, as Robin said, but this time you will want to go after dark, and you will want to go with the proper equipment, usually a torch with a red light filter, because white light actually disturbs nocturnal wildlife, and they're less likely to come towards you. They're going to run away. So as long as you've got a red light filter on your torch or phone or whatever you're using, then you're good to go to just try your luck at spotting some Kiwi birds. But if you don't spot them, you're likely to hear them, and the male and the female sounds are very distinct, very weird sounding. So yeah, get online, listen to some different Kiwi bird calls, and then you'll be able to sort of hear, like, you know, recognize them once you are in the wild.
All right, so sticking with Northland, we're gonna go about 6 kilometers from Whangarei on the Northland, so still in the Northland region, and we're gonna go to Kiwi North.
Yes, so Kiwi North is one of the places where you can see kiwi birds in captivity. Usually they are held for breeding programs where they sort of, once the kiwi birds have laid some eggs, the eggs are sort of kept until the kiwi bird has grown to about 1 kg, and then that's usually where they're big enough to fend for themselves in the wild. So Kiwi North is an example of a place where they have an artificial nocturnal kiwi house where it's sort of made into this sort of nighttime scene, but for people to come during the day and see kiwi birds without, obviously bright lights and all the usual stuff that would disturb kiwi birds. So if you, are determined to see a kiwi bird and you really want to make sure that happens, and usually going to one of these places like Kiwi North is a good place to go.
Plus, in Kiwi North, they have tuatara, which are basically living dinosaurs. They're lizards with 3 eyes. I'll let you discover that on your own. All right, so let's stay in Whangarei. Let's stay in the same town in the Northland region. So it's literally next to Kiwi North, and it's called the Whangarei Bird Recovery Centre, and that's number 4 on our list.
So the Whangarei Bird Recovery Centre is basically a bird hospital. So when there's injured birds that have been found by the public, in the Northland region, they bring them to this recovery centre where it's basically they're nursed back to health and taken back into the wild once they're strong enough. So with that, they have some aviaries where there are birds on display, birds sort of doing their thing until they are released in the wild. And yeah, one of those birds often that you can see there are kiwi birds. There is one particular kiwi bird there that was trapped in a well, I was going to say a bear trap, but I don't think it was a bear trap. Some sort of trap that unfortunately cut off the kiwi bird's leg, so it was unfortunately unable to go back into the wild. But yeah, that one has become sort of an advocate bird out at the Whangarei Bird Recovery Centre.
Okay, so since we're milking the Northland region of the North Island, we're going to go to the Waipura Forest, which is again in the Northland region of the North Island.
Yes, this is another fantastic place to see kiwi birds in the wild.
Or at least to hear them.
Or at least to hear them. However, when you are driving on the main road through the Waipua Forest, which is located in the Hokianga region of the Northland, often people do report seeing kiwi birds crossing the road in the Waipua Forest. But there are nighttime tours that can take you through, and it's usually to focus on the huge kauri trees, which are very spiritual trees to the local Maori people.
The Waipura Forest is actually home to Tane Mahuta, which is the lord of the forest in the Maori mythology.
Yes, so when you're going on one of these nighttime tours, it may be a good opportunity to hear kiwi birds in the wild, and if you're really lucky, perhaps spot them.
Indeed. All right, so that's the first 5. Let's go back to the live chat and we'll continue with our list a little bit later.
Kiwi Lauren says that she's so hot and sweaty. I'm wearing shorts and a tank top and I'm so hot, bracing myself to land in winter tomorrow. Oh my God, that's going to be such a change. Yeah.
But to be quite fair, I mean, that just happened to us. We came back from the South Pacific, came back here. Just even in the plane, it gets so cold with the air conditioning and all that. And hopefully they do not serve, chili con carne pie as the meal in the tin can full of hundreds of people. They don't feed you chili con carne pie because it makes for the worst experience in the world. Trust me.
We may be speaking from experience.
Oh my God, why would you choose that as a menu? Why as an airline would you order chili con carne pie? It has to be a joke on us. I do not see any other way.
It was between that or the curries.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, and no, the curry was not available.
And it wasn't
obviously
available anymore.
The people at the head of the flight were not stupid, but like all the people at the back of the flight, like us puny peasants, we got served like the chili con carne pie and we're like completely surrounded of people eating chili con carne pie and all the side effects that come with it.
Admittedly, on long haul flights, you do get slightly better food than on short
but
haul.
I mean, chili con carne pie? Who had this damn idea? Oh my God. Okay, Jaja or Yaya, Lilo. Ooh, how do I pronounce your name? Please do tell me.
Jaja or Yaya?
I think it's Yaya Lilo. I'm going to go with Yaya. Hopefully I'm correct. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I love to know how to say that. But yeah, so Yaya Lilo says, hello folks, I'm sorry I didn't catch it. Could you write the place where I could see that? So what we do is that we actually have a link to a full article in the description. So if you click on the description of the video just below, you click on see more, and then you're going to have a full link and you'll be able to follow with us. And so the last thing that we say is number 5. So next we're going to be talking about number 6. So if you want to follow with us, we can just kind of discuss that together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But Yaya says, oh, I found your actual guide in the description. Thanks for the guide. It's amazing. Yeah. So everything's written down.
Yeah, we always have everything written down with a lot of links and everything to try to help you out, my friend.
Yeah.
What is Adil saying?
Adil says, are any of the places that were mentioned wheelchair accessible? Kiwi North would definitely be one.
So any of the wilderness area, you know, every time we say you can see them in the wild, you pretty much guarantee you can't really. Like, for example, going to Tiny Mahuta, so the Waipura forest, there are some sections which are boarded, they're boardwalks.
Yeah.
But that's unlikely that it's going to be in the area where the kiwi birds are going to be, because it's an area which has a significant amount of foot traffic because, well, there is a boardwalk. And so for this reason, the kiwi birds, which are relatively shy animals, are usually kind of making their way away from that. And if they know that the tourists are going to, you know, constrain themselves to those boardwalks, which they should, because this is why they've been built, then the kiwi birds can have a very happy life a little further away. You know, the New Zealand forests are so thick and dense that even if you go like about 5 meters away from the path, you will not see or hear anything, you know, from there, especially because you got like so much of that bush. So it's highly unlikely that in those kind of places you'll be able to see them.
Right click on the Transcurry Park link, just because they might have the wheelchair accessible sign for the loop track. Yep.
Cool.
We're just double checking.
Yeah, we'll just check one of them for you. What is Yaya saying in the meantime?
Yeah, wheelchair. So Transcurry Park that we mentioned, the loop walk there is wheelchair accessible. However, from memory, it's a little bit gravelly, so I think it would be better if you, although it's all flat, it's wide. Again, better to have someone there to support. Just I think
it's a loose description of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a loose description of wheelchair accessible.
But the Department of Conservation lists it as wheelchair accessible. But from our experience, we would suggest having someone with you just to
not
help
solo
with those...
wheelchair. Yeah, I think there should be 2 different.
Not solo wheelchair. Yeah. Support wheelchair.
So Jaja or Yaya said, yes, that's amazing, thank you. Again, tell us how to pronounce your name properly so we stop butchering it for you if we can, you know, like at least one person in one day I'm not butchering their name, that'd be great, you know. It'd be boring though if everybody was called John, so you know.
Yeah, or Jon.
Yeah. So JK. So yeah. Let's move on. Let's continue with 5 more then, since you guys don't have any extra questions. But keep going with all your questions, even if it doesn't have anything to do with kiwi birds. Go with your question. All right. Let's do 5 more places where you can spot kiwi birds in New Zealand while traveling, while being a tourist. And one of the great places to see kiwi birds is actually at the National Kiwi Hatchery, which is located in the town of Rotorua on the north island of New Zealand. Rotorua is a spot where everybody is going to go when traveling in the country. You know, this is where all the geothermal activities are. This is where some of the best Maori culture activities are. But it's also one of the best places to see kiwi birds. But that's not in the wild, is it, Laura?
Yeah, so this is another one where kiwi birds are in captivity. However, this is, I would say personally, one of my more preferred places to go to see kiwi birds in captivity. This is a hatchery, so the guys there, they will receive the kiwi bird eggs and they incubate them. Then, as I was saying before, once the kiwi birds have hatched, they're large enough to fend for themselves in the wild. They are then sort of transported by kiwi rangers across New Zealand to various sort of conservation areas and open wilderness areas for the kiwi birds to then fend for themselves in the wild. So it's really like an interesting, like, educational place to learn about kiwi birds and some of the really amazing things about them, and just seeing how huge the eggs are in comparison to the birds themselves.
How does the egg come out? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
So there's some really interesting things to learn there. But of course, what will melt your heart is seeing some of those newborn kiwi bird chicks. They are the cutest things in the world, and it's just, yeah, they're so amazing to see. So we do have videos on the channel. It used to be called Rainbow Springs. Now it's known as the National Kiwi Hatchery.
All right, so next up on our list, we have the Ohope Scenic Reserve. The Ohope Scenic Reserve is located in Whakatane, which is in the North Island of New Zealand. So it's north of Rotorua.
Yeah, so this one is another place where you can see kiwi birds in the wild, but it's really close to town. It's one of the places where you can see kiwi birds in the wild so close to an urban area. There are the Whakatane Kiwi Trust often do the occasional night tour. And we have a video of that on the channel as well, of us doing this experience. And they'll take you into the deep dark forest at night. And not only to try your chances at seeing kiwi birds, but to also see all these other nocturnal creatures that otherwise you would probably not know anything about if you were to go through the forest during the daytime. So yeah, that's another really awesome spot to go. Again, in the dark, better to have red light filters for trying to spot the kiwi birds, but if you see a kiwi bird, then it's usually best to switch off that white light if you do have it, just so you don't scare them and blind them and make them run away.
And the Hope Scenic Reserve is also a fantastic place to hear owls and owl song and noises and everything at night. It's really, really cool. All right, so next up on our list, we have Sanctuary Mountain, which is the name for Mount Maungatautari. It is located in Pukeatua, which is in the northern end of New Zealand yet again.
Yeah, the closest large town to Sanctuary Mountain would be Cambridge.
Yes.
So yeah, Mount Maungatautari is an example of a really awesome sort of huge sanctuary where they have this state-of-the-art predator-proof fence around the whole huge forested area where it stops pests and unusual threats to kiwi birds like stoats and what other things, rats, sort of those land mammals. Possums as well.
Which is a big one, yeah.
That's a big one. So it stops those sort of land mammals that would usually be a threat to kiwi birds, and it's basically like this huge sanctuary that's in the forest for kiwi birds. So you can go in there, you can do self-guided tours, or you can go on guided tours as well. Not only can you see kiwi birds there, again, you have to be quite lucky to see them because obviously they only come out at night. So going on a night guided tour might be the better option. But if you go during the day, you may be lucky, or you may see lots of other really rare birds as you're going around.
All right, so next up on our list, we are heading to the South Island of New Zealand for the first time on this list. That's pretty exciting. And we're heading to beautiful Franz Joseph Glacier, which is on the west coast of the South Island, with the West Coast Wildlife Centre, WCWC.
Yeah, so this works very similarly to the National Kiwi Hatchery. So again, this is where they hatch kiwi bird eggs, specifically the rowy one, which is only a kiwi bird subspecies which is only found on the west coast.
It's the rarest of all the 5 kiwi species of kiwi birds we mentioned before. So
so it is really rare. They incubate the eggs, they raise the chicks until they're large enough to then distribute amongst the west coast accordingly. Off you go, kiwi chicks. But yeah, it's another good place to see those cute little babies that are so cute.
All right, so we're back on the North Island of New Zealand with probably one of the most popular places to go see kiwi birds in New Zealand, and that's Zealandia, which is located in Wellington, which is at the bottom of the North Island of New Zealand, and it also happens to be New Zealand's capital city.
Yeah, so Zealandia is one of these other awesome, huge sanctuaries where they have that predator-proof fence around to stop, those invasive species from coming in, except for humans. But what you want to do for Zealandia, if you want to see kiwi birds, is to go on one of their guided nighttime tours, which they do have specific tours designed for kiwi spotting. So that is definitely your best bet to see kiwi birds without disturbing them, where you're with expert trained professionals who will know how to see kiwi birds without sort of disturbing their natural behaviors and stuff. So that's a really good option, especially since it's so close to the capital of, it is in the capital of New Zealand.
All right, so that's wrap up 10 of them. We have 10 more coming, but first up, let's go back to the live chat. Okay, so we have Adil that says, please say whether those places are still wheelchair accessible. Zealandia is probably wheelchair accessible. The West Coast Wildlife Center is probably wheelchair accessible.
Yes.
Sanctuary Mountain probably
not.
not.
So much.
Ohope Scenic Reserve probably not.
No.
And the National Kiwi Hatchery probably. So
Yes.
basically everything which is kind of like more developed is usually what's going to be wheelchair accessible. All right. Yaya or Jaja says, that's a throwaway account. My name is actually Robin. Very good name. I like it. I'm going to New Zealand 2 weeks, and all your guides and content have been gold mine for planning the trip. Special thanks to you too. Oh, awesome.
You're very welcome.
Well, if you want even more help, consider joining us on Patreon. There is a link in the description of this video where you have access to a special Facebook group where you can interact with us 7 days a week. We can even help you plan your trip and all that. It's a lot of fun, and it's dead cheap. So if you want that, jump on there. What is Sherry saying?
Sherry says, I was thinking of booking a scenic flight in Franz Josef. Do you know if I can book at the iSight? I was thinking of getting there early if the weather is good to see if anything is available last minute.
So in my opinion,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so in my opinion, if you're about to book last minute, you don't want to book through the iSight, you want to book directly through the company. So just head to the office as they will know what's available kind of last minute. The iSight may not have the latest schedule, blah, blah, blah. Especially if the weather is a bit on and off, if they have to move clients one way or the other. You know, you are just adding a third-party person right in the middle, right? You better go into book directly with them. So if I were you, and if I'm here just last minute, you just head to their office and you sort it out with them.
And Franz Josef isn't big, so they're like helicopter and plane tour offices. There's some on the main street, which is like the main, the state highway that passes through Franz Josef, and then the rest will be on Cron Street, which is just another street that branches off the main highway. So yeah, you don't have to go far to find various different offices. Yeah.
Do you think that any tourist ever got lost in Franz Josef? Do you think that any tourist ever got...
I mean, I wouldn't put it past some people, but maybe.
Franz Josef's like one big street.
I know, it is easy enough, but so some people might lose their bearings. There's a lot of trees and mountains.
All right, what else is Sherry saying?
Sherry says, I don't want to book anything and have it get cancelled due to bad weather since I only have one day there. I do have other plans if it isn't possible. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think it's a good idea to do that especially if you only have one day.
Yeah, because you don't know if they're gonna refund you or like give you a credit for the next time and blah blah blah. But you don't know when the next time can be. So yeah, no, I do think that is a smart move of what you're doing, as the weather in Franz Josef is notoriously changeable.
Yes.
It's always on and off and on and off and on and off. But that said, as a backup plan, right? If you are planning on heading to Mount Cook, the weather on the other side of the Southern Alps is actually significantly more consistent and easier to predict. So
and they have really awesome scenic flights from there as well.
And so at that point over there, you'll be able to get some epic scenic flights around Mount Cook. You can even land on the glacier, which is the Tasman Glacier. It's actually New Zealand's longest glacier. And you can even do the heli hike experience in there. Yeah. So that's a really good backup plan.
But as you were wanting to do a scenic flight, I think also the scenic flights from Mount Cook or even from Lake Tekapo, they take you over the top of the Franz Josef and Fox Glacier.
I would actually say that the scenic flight, you actually get to see more.
Yeah.
And they're more comprehensive. You get an overall better experience if you do actually the scenic flight from Mount Cook or Lake Tekapo, kind of almost for sure.
Yeah. So maybe look into those airlines as well. So there's.
She said, is the scenic flight office in the Mount Cook village? Yeah, it's literally the airport is bigger than the village itself, so you won't be able to miss it, and you can just head to the airport, and that's where the office is.
Yep.
So very, very, very easy to find. Sorry, you were about to say?
I was just about to say the name of the one in Lake Tekapo is Air Safaris.
Yeah, the one in Mount Cook village is in flight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the name of the two companies.
And the helicopter line is also in Mount Cook.
And Glacier is Mount Cook Glacier Guiding, is that correct?
Yeah, Mount Cook Glacier Guiding is also there.
There you go, that's the name of all the companies.
Yeah.
We got some information in our brain for some reason. It's like not everything's online.
Yeah.
Some of it maybe we are the real life AIs. Mind blown. Okay, what is Sherry saying?
She says, oh, I'll be looking into the Tekapo too. I don't have a huge amount planned there. Yeah, Tekapo is always one of those areas where it's like, okay, it's really pretty, but what is there to do here?
The one thing I will say though, Sherry, is that you really do not need to do the scenic flight in Franz Joseph and the one in Lake Tekapo, right?
Yeah,
they're
don't
very
pick
similar.
one.
Yeah, just don't spend your money twice. It would be a bit of a waste. Like they're both very similar experience. I will say the one in Lake Tekapo and in so the one that will include the most will probably be the one in Lake Tekapo. Then the second one that will include the most is going to be the one in Mount Cook, and then the one which will include the least will be the Franz Joseph one. So kind of pick kind of wisely. And the good thing with Tekapo and Mount Cook again is that the weather is much more consistent and usually a bit easier to predict as well.
Yes.
So yeah, just keeping that in mind. If we can help you save money on your trip, that's what we do.
Yeah, and she says, oh yeah, I was only going to do one.
Yeah. Don't spend your money on all of them. Oh, well, don't do. Oh, some people like scenic flights, right?
Yeah.
Some people like to do it. Look, Kiwi Lauren wants to do a bungee jump everywhere she goes. No, I'm joking.
Or at least her friends make her.
She's been coerced into it, and she's just saying yes to everybody because she's a people pleaser. Okay, so beautiful people, it is time for us to get back on track with our theme of the week. So let's go over 5 more places to see kiwi birds in New Zealand while traveling around, and let's start with Captivity Island. So it's also located in the Wellington region, more importantly nearby the town of Paraumu. And it's a fantastic place to see them in the wild, isn't it?
Yes. So what you'll want to do if you want to see kiwi birds on Captivity Island is to take the overnight kiwi spotting tour that is available there with the Captivity Island Nature Tours. They have accommodation on the island. It's kind of like glamping style accommodation. So you can go over there, stay overnight, and also a part of the experience is do a kiwi spotting tour. Again, because seeing kiwi birds in the wild is never a guaranteed experience. It's not going to be obviously guaranteed, but it's a cool experience. You're very likely to hear them at least in the wild, and it's just cool to spend a night on an island.
Alright, so next up, still within the same kind of area in the Wairarapa region, which is what the region that we call just up north of Wellington, we have the Pukaha National Wildlife Centre.
Yeah, so this is another place where you can see kiwi birds in captivity. They have various conservation programs over there. But you can. They also have bushwalks, so you can see some of the sort of the wild birds that are attracted to the native bush of that area. And they also do night tours of the area, so you can not only have a chance at spotting kiwi birds, but also see other things like weta, which is some of the heaviest insects in the world. Not the biggest insects, but some of the heaviest insects in the world.
It's not big, but it's damn
heavy.
fat.
Tuna, which is the Maori word for eel, and glowworms as well. So there's a couple of nighttime experiences you could be having there.
Alright, so the second Southland place only that we've mentioned so far is called Kiwi Park, and it's located in Queenstown on the southern end of New Zealand.
Yeah, so Kiwi Park, which is formerly the Kiwi Birdlife Park, it's located at the bottom of the gondola. And it's another place where they actually have quite a few native birds there in aviaries. And also it's more of an educational place where they teach you about the conservation work that is being done in New Zealand in general. So if you're sort of all new to this, like, why are we saving birds already? Then that's a good place to just go and learn about it. They do have a nocturnal kiwi house there as well. So it's an option to see kiwi birds during the daytime.
And it's another place where you'll be able to see the tuatara, that crazy lizard that I was talking about earlier on in the video. Okay, so we're going back to the Northern Island. It looks like it's very Northern Island heavy, this list. I like
That's
it.
where all the kiwi birds seem to be placed.
But we're going to head to a different island this time, and we're going to head to Rotorua Island, which is in the beautiful Hauraki Gulf, which is the big gulf on the just on the side of Auckland, so basically in Auckland City. So tell us more about Rotorua Island.
So this is a place where it's basically the whole island is the kiwi bird sanctuary here, because the water is creating that barrier to stop invasive species from coming onto the island and threatening their habitat. So Rotorua Island has become a kiwi sanctuary because a lot of when we talked about some of those kiwi birds that are raised in hatcheries and then released into the wild, very often they are released into places like Rotorua Island, where then they can sort of grow to be fighting fit without too many threats against them. So yeah, you can go.
UFC training camp for kiwi birds. It's Fight Island.
So yeah, when you go over, basically what they do over there, they invite the public quite often to see kiwi
Matches.
to see kiwi bird releases. But if you know, obviously not everyone can time their trip with that, but otherwise they do have accommodation to stay on the island overnight, and that would be a good way to, you know, try your chances at seeing them in the wild during the nighttime, or again, at least to hear them.
All right. Next up on the list, we have the National Kiwi Centre. So it's located in Hokitika on the west coast of the South Island of New Zealand. Woohoo!
Yeah.
What can you see at the National Kiwi Centre, Laura?
Well, here you can again see kiwi birds in nocturnal kiwi houses. They usually only have just one breeding pair at a time. It's one of those places where the animals that they keep there, it's usually rotating quite a lot. They don't overpack the place. Like, it doesn't feel like an exploitive place, and that's what we try to do with all the ones that we list on this guide right here, because there are other places you can see kiwi birds in New Zealand that we don't like to recommend, but yeah, these ones are the less exploitive ones, and here you can see usually just one pair in a nocturnal kiwi house, but usually they also have eels, freshwater eels that you can see, which are native to New Zealand. They also have the odd tuatara, and also a West Coast classic, which is whitebait, and it's probably the safest place for them to be, because a lot of New Zealanders like to, you know, net them all up and eat them, so they're probably the safest whitebait in the country, I'd say.
There you go. And just like that, that wraps up another 5. Okay, so AG says just a kiwi, not a kiwi bird. You don't say duck bird or ostrich bird. Kiwi is an onomatopoeia for the noise it makes. So I do agree with you. However, because we are talking to mostly people which are foreign of New Zealand, and this is a brand new concept for them, we always differentiate between kiwi fruit, kiwi, the people, the New Zealanders, and kiwi birds. And so that's why we actually do take the time every time to kind of add these extra mentions, so there is no confusion, as a lot of them are first new to all those concepts, all those animals, all those things, but also they are maybe not native English speaker as well, and therefore for them we just want to, you know, I'm not a native English speaker either, and that can be confusing to use the same word for 3, 4, 5 different things. So we just try to basically break down those barriers and make our videos very easy to understand. However, I do agree with you. I wouldn't call it a duck bird or an ostrich bird. I think, you know, you have a very fair point. I just wanted to explain to you why we make the conscious choice to actually say the word kiwi bird pretty much every time. I hope that you do understand. That doesn't make you hate us, as it is very easy to hate people that disagree with you on the internet. I don't disagree, I agree. However, I'm explaining why we're doing it in such a way. I hope that makes sense. I hope that people agree.
Cherie says, I think they say that because there's so many things called kiwi in New Zealand. Yes,
there you go.
Lawrence says, well, hello, Laura, Robin, and everyone here.
Ooh, Laura is back in Boston, isn't she? Sorry, Lawrence is back in Boston, isn't she? How was your trip to France? Did you have fun? Did you get some good food? And you tell all the good people about New Zealand.
How much cheese did you eat?
Are you made of half cheese right now? You're just going to slowly lose the cheese and then go back over there and refill? Because that's definitely what I'll do if I go back to France. I can tell you that right now. So, yeah. All right. So, yeah, while you guys are continuing with some questions and comments, and we appreciate all of them, we may just continue with some more places to see kiwi birds in the wild in New Zealand. So here are 5 more, and the 5 last for this video are places to see kiwi birds in New Zealand. And let's begin with Kerikeri on the north island of New Zealand, all the way in Northland. And there is a place called Aroa Island.
Yes, so this place is where kiwi birds are put in like a large protective sanctuary. So they are sort of free to roam here, which is really cool. I mean, if you go in the daytime, your chances of seeing a kiwi bird are pretty slim, but they do nighttime guided walks there, so that would be your best bet for seeing kiwi birds in the wild when you're in Aroa Island.
And as one of the 144 islands that comprise the Bay of Island, Aroa Island also has some fantastic places to visit, such as a great mangrove and native bush. And it's not often you can see well-preserved mangrove in New Zealand, so it's worth considering if you're into this kind of environmental tourism. All right, so next up on our list, we are heading back to the Southern Island near Dunedin in the Otago region of the Southern Island of New Zealand with the Orokonui Eco Sanctuary.
So this is another large sanctuary area where there's, predator-proof fence in place as well. And here they actually have a huge range of species that you can see during the daytime, but also during one of the night walks. And not only do they have one particular subspecies of kiwi, but you can see various different ones, like the South Island brown kiwi, the Haast Toko Eka kiwi, and the South Island. That's actually two. Just two, not three. I thought there was three, but there's only two. There's various different species to see during both the daytime and the nighttime. But obviously, best to try to get yourself on a nighttime guided walk if you want to up your chances of seeing a kiwi bird.
All right, so let's stick with the Southern Island of New Zealand, but head back to the west coast. Head back to the west coast.
Yes.
It is the west coast. It's very rainy over there. And we're going to be talking about Okarito, famous for its Okarito Lagoon. And there is a bit of a tour over there called Okarito Kiwi Tours.
Yeah, so only available between October and March. This is one of the really rare tours in New Zealand where you are going into a completely wilderness area, but it is known for being a safe place for kiwi birds to live. So you go into this area and you are with a guide who uses basically trackers and stuff like that to find the kiwi birds and give you a chance of actually seeing them like as wild as it can get, other than Stewart Island that we've talked about, where everyone and the kiwi birds are free to roam basically wherever they want. It's kind of the similar situation in Okarito. So, and again,
except that you get even more chances because he's tracking them, and
yes.
they basically even know their name because they always track like similar kind of kiwis that have burrows nearby.
Yeah, so he'll know the places to go to and that sort of thing. So it basically ups your chances really a lot if you're going with a guide rather than if you were just going by yourself and just hoping for the best. This one sort of increases your chances of seeing kiwi birds in the wild tremendously.
And you may even be able to spot the ruru, which is New Zealand's
Yes.
dwarf owl, which is really cool.
It's very cool.
Okay, so we're going back from the west coast all the way to Northland. We do love going to Northland, don't we?
Yeah.
And we are going to Russell, which back in the days used to be New Zealand's capital, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was the first capital of New Zealand when the bloody colonialists came in and did all their colonial things.
She says with a perfect English accent.
But yeah, and colonialists like to establish capitals, and that was Russell back in the day. But yeah, the forested area around there has become a safe haven for kiwi birds, and you can go with a company called Russell Nature Walks, which will take you into kiwi habitat, again to see kiwi birds in the wild at night. Try your chances. Again, it's with wild animals, so it's never a guarantee, but it's usually a pretty awesome experience getting to experience the New Zealand forest at night, and there's often many other things to see if you miss out on seeing a kiwi bird.
All right, and speaking of capitals, what about we're talking about the Kiwiana capital of New Zealand, Otorohanga, which is located in the North Island of New Zealand with the Otorohanga Kiwi House.
Yeah, so the final kiwi house, which is this artificial environment created for kiwi birds that we'll mention, is in Otorohanga. This is located basically for most people when they're driving on their way to Waitomo, if they're going to the Waitomo glowworm caves. You usually get to see breeding pairs there. Usually at certain times of the day they do feedings, so if you time your trip right, when they do the feedings is when the kiwi birds are most likely to come out and you get to see them up close. They also have large aviaries there, well, a sort of large walk-in aviary, so you can check out some of the native ducks of New Zealand as well as some of the native parrots.
All right, so that wraps up 20 places to see kiwi birds in New Zealand. We've got much more help on the website, so check out nzpocketguide.com. We've got some links in the description below. And yeah, with that resource, you'll be able to make your trip to New Zealand ever so more exceptional. In the meantime, you have an awesome trip to New Zealand, and we'll go back to the live chat. Okay, so what is Sherry saying?
Well, Lawrence first said.
Lawrence says.
Lawrence said, I am. French was fun. I guess France was fun. My liver needs a break, and a little bit of Scotland I visited was great. Awesome. How are you guys doing? It's been a while.
Yeah, we've done really well. So as you know, we went to get some sun a little bit, and we didn't get any for the first week. And then we got some nice sun, and so we are coming back refreshed, happy. We've done a lot of work though. We put ourselves so much more work on our plate. But yeah, that was great. My back hurt.
It's like, wow, you're like doing all the actions to go with
I
your
just
words.
realised my back was hurting. That was it. And so what? It's a safe place here. I don't mind.
So
Everybody is scared about it. Hey, so what? My back hurts. I'm not gonna not stretch it. Here you go.
Yeah, you stretch that back.
I stretch that back. Okay, what should you say?
Says, would you recommend going to both the Kiwi house in Franz Josef and the Kiwi house in Otorohanga, or just one? I think in that case I would go to just one because they're very similar.
I have a difference.
I would actually say.
I have a different opinion.
Okay, cool. I would say go to. First of all, I personally I find the Kiwi house in Franz Josef better, so I would go to that one first. I don't usually like to give my opinion on what's better or not, but I will on this occasion just say go to the.
We'll do it just because you're a Patreon. Usually we only give our opinion during the Patreon shows. We are informative and journalistic during our public shows, but on the Patreon shows we're happy to give our opinion.
Yes.
We'll just do it this time.
I just let that one slip there. But yeah, the West Coast Wildlife Centre, which is the Kiwi house in Franz Josef, I would recommend that one. And then if you do want to have a sort of a similar but different wildlife experience, I think I would suggest on the North Island more to go to Zealandia in Wellington, because you're like even to do a night tour or something, because that's a completely different experience and a different way to see Kiwi birds, and it's more exciting to go and see Kiwi, like go spotting for Kiwi birds rather than seeing them in a Kiwi house, which is kind of my personal opinion there. So because Otorohanga and Franz Josef are quite similar, and if you're more into seeing perhaps like the Franz Josef one has like the Kiwi chick hatchery there, which is quite special, then that's just what I would suggest.
I think you should go to the first one on your itinerary first, then fall in love with the Kiwi birds, and then go to all of the one you want to do along the way. But it's kind of like if you it depends on how much of a kind of wildlife kind of buff you are, right? We're really into wildlife, right? So my approach, if I was to plan a trip with Laura and I, would be to actually go to the first one and kind of like just seeing it and be like, oh yeah, that was a really cool experience, and therefore we'll do it again, because they're not a really expensive experience anyway. They're a very good experience to slide in. It's never an experience that takes forever. It's something you can do within about 45 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes at most. So it's something very easy to slide into a day. It's something which is usually sheltered, so therefore if it's rainy, it's easy to do. So it's kind of like the things like if you do love wildlife, you do feel like you really will enjoy it, you may as well to go to all of them.
Yeah.
And therefore like that you don't just do one at the end of your trip and be like, oh damn, I wish I did some more. It's kind of like just go to the first one, enjoy it, spend your $20 or $25, and then do it again, and then do it again if you feel like it's worth it.
Yeah,
that'd be my personal opinion on the way how that'd be my personal opinion on the way I would approach it. So yeah.
And Robin is usually the best at organising stuff, so I would go with his advice.
Just because she gets to see Kiwi birds more than once.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, well, I get more than what I was bargaining for, so I like it.
Cherie says, thanks guys, I love wildlife.
Oh, well, here you go. So maybe go with my approach on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adil says, what is next week's theme?
I have no idea. So what about I put it to you guys? What do you guys want us to pick for next week's theme? We have another about 5 minutes of this show right here. Put on your suggestion. I'll pick one of your guys' suggestions. So yeah, go nuts on the live chat right now. You've got the chance to choose what should be our theme for next week. I'll pick something that is appropriate. So like that, if you guys go nuts because that's the internet, that's not. And if you guys are watching a replay of this, go do it.
Put it in the comments.
Do it in the comments. Just put it on, and why not? I just haven't had time to schedule, as Laura mentioned. We just came back from, as we mentioned already in this video, we just came back for a trip. So I literally just quickly scheduled this one, and then I didn't have that much time to work. So I'm just catching up on email and everything. So I haven't scheduled next week's video. So tell me, what do you want us to talk about next week? What should be the theme for the
theme.
NZ Pocket Guide travel show next week. Do you have a feel? Is there something you want us to talk about?
I just like talking about everything. Robin, there's something blocking the screen on the bottom left of the chat box. Yes, we saw that there. I think there's a bit of the laptop here. Or
Where?
Look here.
Oh, I didn't see that. When did that happen?
Since the beginning.
Okay. Well, I'll deal with that.
We must have knocked the camera.
Yeah. So, what thing do you want us to do? It's just because I moved the laptop. So yeah, I'm just gonna do the little stick and yeah.
But thanks for letting us know, Adil. I did spot it myself. I just thought, we'll sort it out for next week.
Okay. Well, it's done.
It's done.
That wasn't too hard of a fix. It's just obviously we're taking this laptop, this really big laptop that we use for presentation and everything, and since we do a lot of presentation when we travel, because we actually do travel for work, believe it or not, and so for this reason I did reset it in not the perfect way, and I apologize for that. So yeah, thanks for the heads up. Can you raise your hand, Laura? Oh yeah, no, that's good. That works. Nice. Cool. So yeah, what do you guys want us to do for theme for next week? You've got 4 minutes and 40 seconds right here to help us choose. So yeah, sorry, I didn't actually hear when I changed the screen.
Yeah,
what were you saying? What did you want to talk about?
I just said I want to talk about anything to do with New Zealand. Just anything.
So you don't want to spice it up and do something with some of the South Pacific island we cover?
Oh, I mean, I would love to do that, but I feel like not
It's
enough of our viewers are into the South Pacific.
Yeah, well, every
Islands.
single time we do a video on the South Pacific, it doesn't do well, does it? So yeah.
We do have articles that we could on the website, which I guess we could talk about a little bit, which is like the countries closest to New Zealand, so that if you're in New Zealand, these are the countries that you could travel to that are really close by. So if you want to make the most of your trip traveling, usually most people travel all the way to New Zealand from somewhere quite far. So you might as well, there's some pretty awesome places really close to New Zealand that you could include on your trip as well. So if people are interested in that,
that's a really cool idea. I like that. I'm going to put that on the list. Here you go. Since we got no suggestion, boom, that's what we'll do. I like it a lot. All right. So yes, that's what's happening next week. However, during the week, we actually do have a video popping up as well on the channel. First up, I also wanted to thank everybody that voted on the poll on which thumbnail I should be using for the ferry video that we're going to publish. And you guys want me to Photoshop myself a silly jumper. And I appreciate that. I did it, and I will use that. But yeah, so this week on the channel, we are going to be talking about the best and worst food that there is available in New Zealand. So that's one thing that's going to happen. You guys are going to be able to watch that. It's just a fun video where we diss some of the food in New Zealand and also talk about the great culinary experiences that you can have in the country. So that's coming up in the middle of the week. And then, yes, next week we'll come back to you guys with another live show, and that should run it up nicely. So yeah, thank you very much everybody for watching this video. We are going to be having another 1 hour of live show coming up right now for all our Patreon subscribers. So if you're on Patreon, just click right away. It's about to start. And if you're not on Patreon, consider joining us. There is a link in the description below. If you want to plan your trip 24/7, you can head to nzpocketguide.com. There is a link in the description, so you can have access to our expert advice, Laura's journalistic articles, plenty of up-to-date content ready for you to make the most of your New Zealand holiday. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this week. We see you next week at the same time. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye.